What are Native American religions? In this video, we will start with why it's so difficult to give an answer to that question. Secondly, I'll go through particular Native American tribes and tell you a little bit about what they believe. Thirdly, we'll go over some common themes in Native American religions. Let's get started. First, this video is going to be about the religions that are in America natively, that are from America or indigenous to this land. This phrase, Native American religions, is an oversimplification and it is also a distortion. There is not one thing that is a Native American religion. There were hundreds of tribes all over the Americas, and each one had its own ethnic background, its own history, its own origin story, their own language. When the Europeans first got here, there were at least 300 different languages being spoken, and each one of these hundreds of tribes had their own religious views interwoven with their cultural views. These are just three. What I want to do next is look at specific tribes and tell you a few unique things about them. And then we'll zoom out and see what many religions in America have in common. For example, if we look at what is today New York, we would find these people where women have very high social status and pass on a bloodline that was very important to the natives. They believed in polytheism and practiced the reverence for many gods. They also believed in the Orienda, which I might be mispronouncing, which is a spiritual energy that exists in all things. And sometimes this is called animism. This is a culture and a religion with its own history, and it has its own religion as well. For these people, religion and culture were one. So learning about this ethnic group, you learn about a totally different religion compared to the Chinook, who live on the complete opposite side of the country near Oregon or Washington State, and they believe that the salmon are sacred. When they eat a salmon, even though it's sacred, they believe that that eaten salmon takes human form and continues to roam. So they would often throw the bones of those fish back into the ocean. And they believe in a being that oversees it all, translated into English as the Great Spirit, which is a totally different ethnic group and religion and language compared to the Comanche, who lived around Texas. And these people often raided nearby tribes, taking whatever they wanted, sometimes involving violence. They thought that they were protected by spirits. So anything that they were able to do, they were allowed to do, or else the spirits wouldn't have allowed them to do it. And they believe also in an overarching great spirit who they had a special name for, which is its own religion compared to the Cherokee. And today, they can be found in states where they did not originate, because in 1830, the president, Andrew Jackson, had natives moved off of their holy land where they have been living for hundreds, maybe even thousands of years, going back generation after generation, moved to places that were not desired by the European settlers. The Cherokee practiced the honor of Silu, this corn mother, and every year there was an annual festival, the Green Corn Ceremony. People would purify their homes, themselves, they would fast, they would bathe, and they also forgive those who have trespassed against them, a part of this agricultural festival, which is its own ethnic and cultural and social as well as religious belief and practice, compared to a different group of people who used to live around Delaware, Pennsylvania, the bottom of New York State, but again, because of the Jackson era and thereafter, were moved to live in the Oklahoma and Wisconsin area, departed from their natural land where their people had been living for hundreds, maybe thousands of years. They have a special name for a type of person who can summon upon the great spirits that exist in the natural world to provide healing. They have an idea that there is a great creator spirit that oversees everything. Their young boys go on vision quests to get information from deities for how to be a very good hunter and provide for their family. And this is its own religion and culture, ethnicity. They had their own language compared to the Navajo, which originated in Arizona, the Mexico area, some parts of Utah and Colorado. And they believe that there are multiple worlds and that the first tribes to settle here on Earth traveled through 3 different worlds first, that Earth is the 4th world. 4 is a very special number for the Navajo. For example, they believe that there are 4 sacred mountains and there are 4 sacred colors: black, white, yellow, and turquoise. They also believe that there are 2 classes of people: earthly people and holy people. And the Navajo have their own culture and language and religion compared to the hundreds of other tribes in America before the Europeans came over. So what we're going to do next is go over some things that most of the religions in Native America had in common. Many of the religions in Native America believed in totemism, in sweat lodges, in animism, in shamanism, and have a very unique origin story. Totem pole is typically a very narrow and tall wooden carving where you can see plants or animals that represent that sacred space. A sweat lodge is typically a room that only holds several people, where there will be hot coals that have water poured on them that create steam and literally make the people inside sweat. This is purifying the body, the mind, the soul, and the person is reflecting on something for a ritual. Animism is the view that people are not the only things on earth that have spirits or a mind or a will, but that also inanimate objects like mountains and forests and a tree can have a spirit inside of it. A shaman is a man or a woman who serves as the intermediate being between most humans and the spirit world. Native American religions also have in common origin stories, but each one has a very unique story. The Maya are a Native American group that lived in Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras area, a very large culture and people. They believe that their origin story is that there is this woman whose name is here, and she mixed her tears with white corn and yellow corn in the native land. And she made 4 men and 4 women who populated the rest of the Maya tribe. Unlike the Maya, the Hopi believe that their creator god is a male, the sun spirit. Here's his name. He instructs a lesser god, whose name is here, it's a spider being, to take all of the humans out of the underworld to Earth, to where they are found to live what we would call the Grand Canyon. A totally different Native American tribe that practices different customs and has a different religious belief system is the Winnemem Wintu tribe. And these people believe that they emerged from the salmon on Mount Shasta. Check out the Shasta Dam to see some recent history for what has happened to the Winnemem Wintu tribe. A totally different culture is the Lakota. They have their own religious practices as well, and they believe that their creator is a different person, a great mystery who gives them the Lakota pipe out of which they smoke. The point here is that even though the Native American religions have different origin stories, many of the Native American religions have their own origin story. It's their cosmology. The Native American religions have a lot in common. For example, having a person designated as the healer in the tribe, someone who is very good at knowing what spirits to call upon or what plants to mix to ward off the demons and to bring about health, both mental, spiritual, but also physical. And if you go to the Oglala, If you go to the Navajo, if you go to the Mohegan tribe, you'd find men and women doing this thing. But don't let these commonalities fool you into thinking that there is one thing called Native American religions. That is not the case. Each tribe has its own language, potentially its own heritage, potentially its own origin story, its own ways of being that tribe.